All right, everybody, we are back. It is Tape Don't Lie. It is your favorite Raiders podcast, favorite Raiders breakdowns, favorite Raider channel, whatever you want to call it. Make sure you guys subscribe. If you're on iTunes or Spotify, go ahead and download on iTunes. Subscribe on iTunes, download on Spotify, right? And then, hit the like button on YouTube, hit the dislike button if you don't like it, right? Or leave a comment or, leave a bad comment if you don't like it as well. So, and then make sure you follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me and at BD Williams 18 for BD. All right, guys, it is game week, right? We got the Ravens coming, but this is still a review episode. So we're going to be reviewing some last stuff before we get to the Ravens in a couple days, and we'll be going over the Ravens for you guys. All right, so this is going to be kind of a little bit like the older format for the YouTube guys. Podcast probably going to be still the same, but we're ready to do a little bit of some breakdowns inside this episode. All right, it's kind of like some old school type of stuff that we used to do. So kind of get back to it, guys. All right, so BD, how you feeling, man?
Feeling good, yeah, man. Game week. I'm excited. I'm geeked for this. This is what we've been working up to. Me and you doing film breakdowns, crunching all the tape, and now we get to see it come to fruition. So, I'm heavily invested in this. Obviously, we have a channel and a podcast about the Raiders, but I'm just super excited. I'm really excited because the addition of KJ Wright, I think, gives this defense a little bit better of a chance to handle some of the exotic run game that they're going to see from Lamar Jackson and Greg Roman, the offense coordinator for the Ravens. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. What about you? What you got for us?
We're going to do a little Mariota in the red zone. So I did a little silver and black pride article about that. You do a little breakdown and do a little deeper dive into the actual videos instead of the actual numbers. So we're going to be doing that. That's something that we're going to be looking into today. So, anything else you want to talk about before we get into these breakdowns? Any thoughts?
Anything special happen? Are you familiar with Peyton Barber, his game?
Yeah. I mean, Peyton Barber is a good running back, but I'm not 100% familiar with this game. But I know he's a legit kind of third string running back that won't hurt your team.
Change of pace kind of guy, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't even say that, dude. I would say that he's more of a backup running back than like a third down guy, in my opinion.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
About that. Matt Waldman, the scouting portfolio guy.
Yeah.
He loves Peyton Barber. He talks about Peyton Barber like all the time. It's so weird. I'm always hearing him talk. Yeah, he has his favorites. I'm always hearing him talk about Peyton Barber. I'm like, Peyton Barber, the backup, like the Buccaneers, like 3 years ago. Like this guy bounces around the league. You love this guy. Yeah. So I mean, he's got some fans. He's effective. He's got some fans.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to hear your thoughts on it because I honestly have never watched tape of this guy. Maybe I've seen like a highlight or two here or there. I really don't know much about the player.
I mean, he's a good running back. I mean, you don't want him starting, but I mean, on those bad Buck teams, he was a starter. So I mean, you don't want him starting though, for sure. I mean, they brought in who did they bring in today? They brought in Kerryon Johnson today.
And I love Kerryon Johnson.
Yeah, they brought in the dude from Texas too as well.
Dante Foreman, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I mean, Peyton Barber is not for sure, obviously.
Not for sure.
It's not for sure. Not a for sure thing.
Kerryon Johnson, he willed Auburn to so many wins. You remember that year that he came out?
Yeah.
Where he's like, they had a goal line package for him out of Wildcat where they would just direct snap the ball. And he had like 4 or 5 rushing touchdowns that year. Just like literally just like running through people's faces. Incredibly physical runner. And he's been banged up probably because of his running style. It seems like every year he gets hurt for the Detroit Lions when he went over there and played. But I've always been a big fan of Kerryon Johnson. And then Dante Foreman's been hurt a lot too, right? In his career.
Yeah, they've both been hurt.
Yeah.
I just always thought Johnson was slow. That was my big problem with him. He was slow. He's too slow for me.
So is Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, but there's a difference.
He doesn't have that same burst. He doesn't have the same burst. Yeah.
The burst through the hole is,
right.
Jacobs doesn't have a long speed, but he's got a little bit a better.
He's got more burst, more explosive for sure.
I mean, just my message before we get into these breakdowns is like, stop giving these like lower, media guys love about their stupid Raiders predictions. I mean, they're looking for like excitement these days. That's kind of my message to you guys is just.
Oh, you're talking about that guy with the bad haircut who talks about how bad the Raiders are going to be
right now. He's doing their Twitter spaces with Raiders fans.
You know what it is? Look, there was a graphic that came out. It said that Raiders have the most negative comments on the internet about them, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I tweeted, look, that's Raiders fans doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you see all the negative comments that Raiders fans give about the Raiders, about Mike Mayock, about John Gruden, about Derek Carr. Like it just never ends. Every day you log on to Twitter, you log on to social media, people are bashing the Raiders. It generates a lot of traffic, engagement, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why Florio, he already knows every year. What does he do? He puts out like, oh, Derek Carr is on the hot seat, because he knows it's going to generate massive amounts of clicks. Even though he didn't hear that anywhere, but he knows, like, okay, this is just good for my website to have this. So that's what these guys are doing. They're tapping into how ravenous Raiders fans are. Don't give them the time of day. Don't prop up their their platform, because they're doing this on purpose. It's calculated.
Yeah, and they're dumb, dude. It's just ask them, are the Raiders a running football team, and then that's all you need to know. The answer to that question will tell you if anybody knows anything, because I really don't know how many people actually know that.
Yeah,
it's always my first question, because I don't think people know that. You would mention the running football teams, and people would never mention the Raiders as a run first football team when they clearly are. So.
Yeah, two things that these guys said that shows that they have no credibility. First, they said that the Browns beat the Raiders last year. Okay, so obviously they're not paying attention to the games. They're not watching anything. And then when they named starters on defense, they mentioned Cleveland Ferrell as being a good player and did not mention Max Crosby one time. So they have no idea who's on the roster. They don't know anything about the Raiders. Okay, like they have no idea.
I didn't even watch that. That's the problem. Like, I wasn't even gonna try to watch that, bro, because they knew they could get some hits off that, because they don't.
Yeah,
hits, so.
Right. That's what I was thinking too when I was watching. I was like, whatever.
I wasn't gonna watch it because I knew it was gonna be stupid like that, because they're just guys who just think they could just say whatever. But that's where we're at. But
that's where we're at. That's where we're at.
We're not picking the Raiders to go to the Super Bowl. We're just saying, like, I don't think they're gonna be 3-14, and they beat Vegas 2 years in a row. I mean, my thing with it is like the power rankings of the 2020 Raiders going to the season, like the average was like 24. They finished with the draft pick of 17, so they were a top 15 team in the NFL. But everybody said they were the 24th. Pro Football Network had them 28th. Like, nobody knows anything, because nobody knows that Gruden is a good offensive coach. So since nobody really takes that to an account, they just take all the front office stuff, which I agree, could be a little messed up, especially with Tanner Muse getting cut. We didn't even talk about that, but those situations and the way they handle the front office, but man, Gruden's good cook some of these teams, so it didn't even get a matter.
There's just like a lot, and here's the problem. Like, this is why what do? We focus on the Raiders. Do we try to like predict other teams' records? Like, I can't sit here and look at anyone in the eye and pretend to be an expert enough in 32 teams. Okay, like, come on, like it's impossible to do that. Okay, you have to have a team of researchers and analysts like working around the clock to get you proper takes. You know, like that, you have to be like Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless. Sitting like they got a whole like all these people like feeding them all this information, everything like that, so they can say something, and they sound like idiots half the time, anyways.
Yeah.
So like it's too much to try to like look at and try to predict everyone's records and everything like that. You can't be an expert enough on all the teams in the league. That's why we focus on film. We focus on the Raiders. So I think that's a good segue.
Support for this episode of Tape Don't Lie is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped just launched their 4th-generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. Join over 2 million men worldwide who have trusted Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code TDL at manscaped.com. That's TDL at manscaped.com.
Yeah. We can start talking about some things. You did mention that Tanner Muse got cut. I think he'll be signed back to the practice squad. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets active.
He already joined the Seahawks practice squad, so no, he won't be.
He just joined the Seahawks practice squad. Wow, so he's tight.
Yeah,
he's tight.
he's mad. Yeah,
he's mad. He's mad.
Yeah, he is. And then I saw Maddie was hyping him up a little bit. I'm like, come on, Maddie, whatever,
bro. So here's my thing. When they brought in Denzel Perryman, they brought in KJ Wright, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
They got all these linebackers under contract. I know that Morrow and Javin White are on IR, but I was like, are they gonna trade someone, right? Like some movement is gonna happen at this position, and I was really worried that they would trade like Corey Littleton or Nick Kwiatkowski maybe. So I'm just happy that it's Tanner Muse that got cut. Like, who cares? Like, this guy wasn't ever gonna play anyways. Except on special teams. So I'm good with it. I'm not upset at it. And if anything, to the people that are like upset about like, oh, a 3rd round pick went to a waste, whatever, yada yada yada. Okay, let's put it this way: the Raiders have done such a good job putting together depth on defense that a 3rd round pick can't even make the team. Okay, they added bona fide like actual real players. Okay, and not like the Dominic Ellerbrees and the guys who are just like fringe NFL players that just fill out the back into the roster. Like, no, every position group, top to bottom, is legit NFL players are on it. It's not just the 2 guys who start. So Tanner Muse is a fringe NFL player. If we're being completely honest, his athleticism is very questionable. That he should be 250 pounds for the type, like the level of athleticism that he has, but he's only 225. So maybe he puts on some weight at some point, along the line, and he can play, actual linebacker in the NFL. But KJ Wright is just such a huge, massive upgrade, and we're going to get into why soon, that you should not be worried or crying about a 3rd round pick going to waste. Okay.
Yeah.
So with that said, I'm just going to jump right into it. Okay. I'm going to talk to you guys about KJ Wright. Okay, so KJ Wright comes over. He's a very unique player. First, let's talk about him in the passing game. Okay, so the Seahawks are in cover 3 right here, and someone messes up, and I think it's this safety at the top of the screen. He's supposed to cheat towards the field, and he just lets this seam go like straight. Like, this should be a touchdown. Okay. It's very unusual for a hook curl player to defend the seam and get a pass breakup. He breaks the hands, finishes. Now here he is in a fire zone. He's a flat defender. You see him identify that and then just make a sick one-handed interception here. So KJ Wright's legit in coverage, and this is my favorite play in this breakdown. They're gonna send a blitz, but it's standard cover 2, but he's the hook or the vertical hook player. He's got a long way to run here. So watch him. He squeezes this guy with the corner and it cancels him out. But then he comes off and covers another guy. Willie Snead breaks up the pass. Goodbye. Get off the field. And then you see him, like, he's going to beat blocks in the open field and make, open field tackles, track guys down, and gets the screen game. And then also he's shown that he can make a lot of plays. This is not the only one. In the RPO, you see that zone action. You got a backside slant over the top of him. And, you could also see it in this angle right here. This is really fun. He sees Kirk Cousins come off of it. He keeps square. Kirk Cousins tries to sidearm at the last second to get around him, and he still karate chops that ball out of the sky. And then we got KJ Wright versus the run. Okay, so this is an incredible play right here. In this front, he's an A-gap fitter. A couple things happen. So first, we got a jet motion, so the linebackers are going to sling the fit. But then he also sees that he has a pulling guard, okay, and he knows that the defensive tackle is going to go into that C gap. So then at the last second, he adjusts to the D gap, okay? He's switching gaps multiple times during the course of this play, makes a stop, okay? And then you also know that KJ Wright, he's just going to do the right thing, okay? This is a vice tackle. You got to, play your right leverage. He's not going to make mistakes here. He's always going to be doing the right thing. And then he can be an impact player, especially on the edge. You see him just throw that tackle or a tight end onto the ground. Please. Child, please, is what he said. Okay, and check this out here. Okay, once again, he's pacing the block, goes ahead, sets that edge, gets in there on the run. Tight ends cannot block this guy. He's just a beast. He's a great run player. He's a great pass player. Okay, it's honestly pretty rare, I would say, to have a linebacker, 6'3", 250 pounds, be able to set the edge almost like a defensive end, and then, be, playing weak side linebacker and doing all the things that he does such a great job of in coverage. It's honestly pretty unique, I would say, in the NFL. So that's KJ Wright. I don't think that he's not like a great pass rusher, but I think he's better at dropping in coverage on pass plays. So, and the other thing that I noticed too, like there were a couple plays tight ends got away from him or something like that. He's not like as fleet of foot as he used to be, but he's going to do the right things. He's not going to be like a completely, a flawless player. Like, everyone's going to get beat here and there and stuff like that, but he's going to be more right, much more often. Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I was excited to watch. I'm sure fans are going to really like watching that. Watch KJ Wright just play good football. You know what I mean? Like that's basically what you just showed was a good football player, right? And who has a chip on his shoulder, I believe. I think he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. I think a lot of people on this team have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. So I think they're going to take that mentality and try to show out and try to show how good this team thinks they can be. 'Cause, I honestly, the Raiders inside the building, I think they think they're better than 100% what's happening outside the building, and they want to go prove that. They think they have the pieces. And I think that's kind of why we're seeing them move on from Tanner Muse. We're seeing them pick up a Denzel Perryman. We're seeing them pick up a KJ Wright, right? Because everything's in go mode. This is not a joke anymore. They're not trying to, maybe improve to 9-8. They want to
and check it out, right? Like they signed what's his face, the running back or whatever, right? What's his name? The guy they just signed, whatever.
Peyton Barber.
Peyton Barber. But then they also bring in Kerryon Johnson and Dante Foreman on like the very next day, right? Like they like it used to be, and this is why people I think are so upset that a third round pick that was never going to play anyways got cut or something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
It used to be the Raiders would just like have these guys hanging out on the back end of the roster, and they'd be on your team forever. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then every once in a while they'd come in and do something, and then fans would like Kyle Wilbur or something like that, right? Okay. Chaz Shillings. Okay. Marcel Aitman. Okay. They're just like always hanging around. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think those days are over. Okay. If you don't rise to the top, they're gonna cut you and they're gonna find someone else. And they're gonna keep that competition going. No complacency. You're not just there taking up a spot. They
Yeah.
want the guy who's at the very end of the roster to be scratching and clawing for playing time, right?
Yeah.
And pushing everyone else in front of him, like, oh, I can't get comfortable here. Corey Little's I can't get comfortable. I got Javon Diablo, breathing down my neck here. Javin White making some interesting plays in preseason, right? Like they're going to be that's what they want on this team. That's coming from the Pete Carroll school of thought. Gus Bradley coached under him, a lot of roster turnover. So that's just what's going to happen. So yeah, I agree. Both sides of the ball, we're seeing we're not seeing complacency for sure.
Yeah, and that's exciting to me. I think, losing the draft picks. I mean, they weren't going to work out, but I knew Tanner Moose wasn't going to work out when they took him. So I kind of saw that coming. So I'm not too surprised that they moved on from him. I mean, it was just a bad pick from the beginning, in my opinion. So since I didn't think it was going to work out, I'm not too shocked by it. I'm not too upset about it, but I can see how other people are. But I don't think it makes a big deal. Like, and everybody, giving up on Henry Ruggs already. I think that's weird. Like, one person wrote like an article that, he had no impact on the team last year. And I was thinking, I mean, do they beat the Chiefs without Henry Ruggs?
No, they don't. Okay, so anyone who says that Henry Ruggs didn't have impact, they're just talking about their fantasy team not having impact. But Henry Ruggs, like that's all they're looking at. They're like, oh, he didn't have 1,000 yards, he sucks. Like that's all they think about. So
yeah, because what did John Gruden in his interview the other day, he said PFF would have gave Cliff Branch a bunch of stuff because he only had 50 catches. But,
right, a season, right, exactly.
It's still funny,
right?
Anyway, so
that's funny.
So your thoughts on defense or?
No, I mean Denzel Perryman. It was actually interesting. He was listed as the starter at middle linebacker.
Yeah.
Over Nick Kwiatkowski in the district. You saw that, right?
Yeah. It said or.
It said or. It says Denzel Perryman or Nick Kwiatkowski. So, I mean, I have some Denzel Perryman clips. I wasn't like super impressed, but if they're saying that he's going to be the starter, then I got to show Raider Nation what he's all about. So, based off like the next week's performance, we'll see if I need to do a deep dive on him and talk about Denzel Perryman. But great run player. That's about it.
Yeah,
that's all I got. So what you got for us today, bro?
All right, let's get into this Marcus Mariota little breakdown. You know what I mean?
Marcus Mariota.
Haven't done this in a long time. All right. All right. So we're gonna go over Marcus Mariota's red zone history. All right, so it's a big thing, right? Marcus Mariota in the red zone, using him in the red zone. So simple, right? So such a he can run. So let's use him in the red zone, right? It's not always that simple, but we're gonna get into what he does well running the football inside the red zone and some of the things he doesn't. All right, so first thing first, right? We talk about QB sweeps. So he comes from Mike Mularkey, 2016, 2017, exotic smash mouth power football. So what they like to do in the red zone was get him on the outside because Mariota, he's not really a guy that's going to shake you and break you type of guy. He is more, I have to have a lead blocker and use my speed and read blocks to get around the corner. So this first one is kind of like a QB sweep, pin pull sweep, but Mike Mularkey kind of designed this one a little differently, right? So you see the tackle is going to be pulling instead of like a guard or even, both guards or the guard in the center that you usually see in pin pulls. It's going to be the tackle. Then you can see a crack block there from DeMarco Murray. and it gives a free lane to Mariota, gets into the end zone, not into the end zone, but he gets close to the end zone. See it one more time, gets in that lead blocker, because that's what he needs. He's not really a guy who can shake you. With the lead blocker, though, he is deadly because he can use his speed and he can get outside. You see it here one more time. This one has a little bit of a mesh fake, but you see the same thing. He's able to get outside with that lead blocker and score a touchdown. But what I think the Raiders should do is a different version of that. I mean, I think this is what you call a pure pinpull sweep right here with the quarterback. We got Josh Allen. He's against the Seahawks, right? And we're going to see that exact movement, that pinpull. And I think if the Raiders can do that with, like, you know, get Andre James or John Simpson or even Good and Simpson on the perimeter, that can open it up for Marcus Mariota if they wanted to add a package for that. But that's not in the Raiders playbook, so that's why it has to be added addition. What's in the Raiders playbook, though, is the arc read, which is right here, right? So you see the arc read. This is a big play with Darren Waller, but Darren Waller couldn't make the block to kind of spring Mariota for a touchdown, okay? Now, the Titans, they ran an arc read a lot in the red zone. He scored a lot of touchdowns off it, and I like this variation because you're going to see a motion from Delaney Walker, and then he's going to come back on the same arc read with the same lead block. And they're also out of 12 personnel going to send the other tight end, number 81. He's going to go up there and get on a safety. So you're going to see this right here, the arc read. Easy walk-in touchdown for Marcus Mariota with the lead blocker. Right, so with the lead blocker, it is paramount for him. As you see one more time, same place against the Raiders 2017 when they all fooled us for 2 games. But when they fooled us and it made it seem like they were good. But we'll get to inside zone read, though, right? That's, you know, this is the play that the Raiders actually run. This is a zone read. He had like a whole bunch of yards off of that, right? But it's not really something that he specializes in, and we're gonna see it later, though. But he does read this one correctly, right? So, you know, you inside zone read. You read the defensive end crashes. Of course, he keeps it at the mesh point. He doesn't crash. He gives the ball up, right? So you see the defensive end crash, easy play. But then, you know, he's sliding because he really can't shake anybody, right? That's basically his issue. But even when he was in Tennessee, he had some issues making a decision on the inside zone read, okay? So you'll see right here, this is overtime, guys, right? At the goal line. If he makes the right read here, they score a touchdown on this inside zone read. And he has Jason Witten and Darren Waller. They're getting up to the safeties. This is about to be a walk-in. And I want you guys to watch 98, all right? See, 98 moves inside right there. Mariota scores, bro, if he keeps his football, right? But he hands it off. Easy. Nothing, right? Nothing there. And I think that's kind of the issue when it comes to him in the red zone. He's not a inside zone read type of guy where I'm reading the defensive end where he does it really well. He needs a lead blocker in front of him. So it either has to be arc read or it has to be some kind of QB pin pull sweep type of thing where he has some blockers in front of him and he's able to, you know, they're able to get you to the second level. He can make his read and just go, right? He doesn't have to worry about breaking any tackles. He doesn't have to worry about reading anything. He is just going. And I think that's kind of where he has to be. Because if you get him into the inside zone run game, and even in the Raiders game, he was eating off that, right? But sometimes he made the wrong decision a couple times in that game. And you saw it right there. I mean, if he walks in, Raiders win, everybody's excited. You know, he's getting all this hype. He might be on a new team right now. Who knows what happens if he makes the right decision there? So, I don't know. You tell me, am I crazy on that play? Because I was trying to figure out, like, when I was watching it, I felt like maybe I was being a little too nitpicky on it.
I've watched that player. That's Isaac Rochelle. I've watched that player for like the last 3 years because Chargers. I've been watching their defense. Okay, there's no game would he have run down Marcus Mariota. He's not very athletic. In fact, he plays both defensive tackle and defensive end. He's like a big defensive end that they use to stop the run. Marcus Mariota is outrunning that guy, guaranteed. So,
okay.
If it was like Uchenna Nwosu or, you know, obviously like Joey Bosa, like give there, you know, like don't get your head cut off by Joey Bosa. But yeah, like no, he and that's just that would just come with, you know, I guess if you're the starter, like this is a package for you, you're gonna look at these defensive ends and you're gonna have an idea of which ones you can outrun. So when you're in that situation, you see like, oh, 98, I got this guy. Let me get on him, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of these things are predetermined, pre-snap, which is why like Lamar Jackson, it looks like the fastest decisions and fastest options. Like he's already knows in his mind before the ball snapped what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
You know, like that's why it looks like it's such a fast, read option or whatever. Like he's not reading. He's like, that guy, I can outrun him. Goodbye. And he's out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Marcus Mariota, he's special. He's special. He's special. Obviously, incredibly special. Like, but it is like the greatest option attack ever in the history of football.
But yeah, because he's awesome at the mesh point. He's so good at the mesh point.
So
he'll
good.
Hold it and have a defense that overcommit, and he'll pull it, and he's right by him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. But anyway,
yeah.
We'll talk about that
yeah, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk a lot about it.
We'll talk about it. But yeah, I think that's the difference with him is like in Tennessee they didn't even ran inside zone read. They didn't run the inside zone read. Rarely, it was rare, and I think that's part of the reason that he's better getting out on that sideline where he's able to build momentum and get outside. So that's where I think that he'll do a lot better there.
I love the arc read. Especially like Delaney Walker. He was like putting his shoulder into some cats. Like I love Delaney Walker. I've always been a fan of his, of his play. So that was actually really cool to see. What I really love about the arc read is you can do that little pop pass, that NCAA stuff off of it so easily. You got that safety coming down to be the force player, bam, right over the top of his head. There's like, this is serious football we're talking about. You got the arc read, and then the pop pass built on top of it. You can do it. I think that there's more things that you can do with that. So yeah, that would be awesome to see. But I don't think, and you probably said this already, that's not really in John Gruden's playbook, is it?
No, he'd have to adjust everything. But I don't know. I don't know. I mean, how much is that arc read in his playbook? I mean, and maybe that's something he always had in his back pocket for Mariota, because I mean, that is something that he really does well.
The zone read.
Yeah. The arc read is something that he's done really well. But Gruden never really ran that, because he runs inside zone read with Carr too.
That's
Carr
true.
Just don't keep it. He just never. He's kept it a couple times, but he does run it. They run it. It's just, I don't know, but with the key, it's better to be arc read with Mariota, so he has somebody that's in front of him that he can come around and make some blocks and make some plays. So
yeah, that'd be exciting. I think, we've said it before. You put just a couple plays like that, short yardage situations. They don't even have to be goal line. They could just be 3rd and 1s in the middle of the field. Okay. Yeah. You put a couple plays like that on tape. Now defensive coordinators are having to card up all the different options and things like that. It wastes so much practice time. Hey, I got my cat here. Sorry, guys. It wastes so much practice time. So it's worth it just for that. And then also because Marcus Mariota, he's you were texting me like a lot this summer, and you were like, multiple times I remember you saying like Mariota is a what do you call him? Like he just wants to get into the end zone.
He's just tough, bro. Like, so he's gonna dive and give up his whole body just to get in there. So even like if you give him the ball down there, I think there's a chance that he's going to try his hardest to get to that corner and score. So that's why I think like putting the pin pull QB sweep in there, I think would be super smart if they're going to use him down there. But I don't know how much Gruden's going to do it. I don't know, especially if it doesn't work, which, I mean, how stubborn is he going to be with it? You know what I mean? If he does try it, but who knows? We'll see. They say they have a package for it, but I don't know, like what do they see in practice to kind of get into that package. But
yeah. I mean, well, yeah, we will see. We will see. I do remember like when Tape Don't first started, one of the things we talked about was Marcus Mariota is a great backup because he's just gonna be like, let's play ball, and he's gonna go in there and put his heart and soul out there, and it's a great changeup because of the athleticism, right, that he brings, at least like the straight line speed that he can get up to. I think that change, it just really changes the way you play defense when you go up against a player like that, and then when you see him, some of the plays that he's made throughout his entire career, where he's like really putting his body on the line for his team. I think that's a great backup to have.
yeah,
and yeah, it would be cool to see a package of plays for him, specifically for him, to kind of highlight him a little bit, and then maybe even down the line that adds some value, and the Raiders get something good for Marcus Mariota in the future. So I think it's a win-win-win-win-win for everyone.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, man. You got anything else to talk about?
I think we covered a lot of the stuff in the beginning of the show. I think we talked about all the transactions. You'd let me know that Tanner Muse got he signed Seattle. That's okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, very good, sir. I wish Tanner Muse the best. But since he never actually played an actual regular season game for the Raiders,
yeah,
I don't know if he really counts as a Raider.
I don't know. That's true.
Some people have Tanner Muse jerseys. That's sad. I'm sorry if you're a Tanner Muse fan. I've seen some Tanner Muse jerseys on Twitter. That's embarrassing. That's why I only have a Tim Brown jersey and a Charles Woodson jersey. Those are the only two jerseys I have. Okay, we're talking about Hall of Fame players. All right, like don't be grabbing a jersey of a draft pick. Okay, like who knows what's gonna happen to these guys? All right,
especially a third round hybrid special teams guy.
Special teams war daddy. Yeah, the writing was on the wall. The writing was on the wall because he's not big enough to play Sam linebacker in the NFL. He's just not.
No, he's not. But it's just interesting. He went to the same system, so it's weird.
Yeah, they play under Ken Norton Jr. Yeah, that's true. He went to the same exact system, but I think that he's going to be like a backup middle linebacker. Plus, a lot of their guys, they have undersized guys. Like Cody Barton's over there, and he's like almost like 5'11", like he's barely 6 feet tall. Cody Barton.
Yeah. Okay.
Like there was like a little mic'd up where Cody Barton and KJ Wright were talking, and like Cody Barton looks so short next to KJ Wright. Yeah. But yeah. So I mean, yeah, we'll see. It's definitely interesting which Tanner Muse the best. I know that people were really riled up about that. Anything else that Raiders fans were really riled up about besides the 4-13 win prediction?
No. It's the 3-14. Like you really think like the Giants are gonna stop them? Like that's what the NFC East. If they're playing the East this year, go on, guys. Okay.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll see.
Daniel Jones.
Yeah, my only issue really with the whole thing is how much credit they give to like the Broncos or even the Chargers. Like I don't know. I guarantee you I watch more Chargers than those guys have. Okay. So I just don't understand why some of these other teams in the division get so much credit. I really don't get it.
The Chargers is Justin Herbert. That's why the Chargers have hype, because everybody thinks Justin Herbert's about to like be the next elite quarterback in the NFL. So they have major hype. I mean, it's kind of the same thing that Kyler Murray got going into his second year. They super hyped up Kyler Murray. He's going to win the MVP. He's got DeAndre Hopkins now. They're just hyping up a first round pick that played halfway. He played well. He played really well for the rookie year. So But I have my thoughts about Justin Herbert. But
where can we find your thoughts on Justin Herbert?
My podcast, my little pocket awareness. I mean, I went over every single quarterback in the NFL. So
yeah,
and I, because Justin Herbert, he's just, I don't know, man. I'm interested to see his second year. I'm interested to see, because he came in, he's very high volume, but that's where the hype comes in. Most people are total yards people. That's why a lot of people say the Ravens had the worst passing offense in the NFL. And no, they don't pass. So yes, they have the worst passing offense in the NFL, and least
in terms of yards. Yes,
in terms of yards, but like EPA and like DVOA and all those other efficiencies, they're just as good as any other passing team.
Yeah.
So you just have to total yards is just a mirage. Is basically what I'm telling you guys. Total yards and total touchdowns are mirages. You want to look at
how many times did Justin Herbert throw the ball last year? Like 600.
595.
595. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot.
And he's gonna throw the ball just as many times this year because they're not gonna run the football.
They can't run. Who?
Austin Eckler, I guess.
No,
but,
he's literally better at catching the ball than running the ball.
Yeah, he's like the ultimate like Phillip Rivers scat back. But Herbert's got a little, my thing with the Chargers too, and I feel like we're just going on a rant here about other teams, but my thing with the Chargers is, I'm going to say this is my last thing before we get out of here. The Chargers had a Hall of Fame quarterback. Okay. He played with them for 15 years, 14 seasons, and he's not going to make the Hall of Fame because he's a Charger. So let's just keep it real earlier, guys. So we can hype up this team all we want, but I mean, they had a better quarterback than the Raiders for like years, and we always beat them. So I don't know. The whole they have a better quarterback.
They had such a stacked defense with Daniel Tomlinson, Phillip Rivers, and they lost first round of the playoffs every time. Like, get out of here with the Chargers.
Get out of here with that. Bro,
please,
they were in 2010. I think they went. They had the number one defense and the number one offense. It went 8-8. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear about the damn Chargers. I'm sorry.
All right, that's crazy.
Anyways,
it's crazy that. One more thing, because I love crapping on the Chargers. Okay. Because really they are a team without a fan base. They have no fans. Okay. Both you and I separately have been trying to find someone on Twitter that does Chargers breakdowns. There is no such thing. No one does Chargers breakdowns on Twitter. Okay. Because they have no fans. No one gives a crap about their scheme.
Chargers, bro.
Because no one actually watches the Chargers. Okay. Like it's embarrassing. Even Keenan Allen, all these guys would be like, oh, fans in the stadium. Wow. Come on.
The Chargers have been picked to make the playoffs with the Super Bowl since like 2012.
Right.
I used to watch NFL around the NFL.
Yeah. It's like a shooter, okay? And he's just sitting in the corner. He's like, this one's gotta go. This one's gotta hit. This one, like he just keeps on shooting because he thinks eventually, you're gonna be right. So yeah, and don't get me wrong, Justin Herbert, he showed a lot of promise. Joey Bosa when he's healthy, Derwin James when he's healthy, like those guys are freaks, right? And then this guy Staley, who's coming in the head coach, like he's really special, So, but I just don't like this year.
Yeah, they're supposed to just make a leap and be like,
I don't understand that one. But I'm sure they're going to be competitive for sure. They're going to be competitive, but I'm just not convinced like they're going to be like a playoff team necessarily this year. But we'll see. And then the Broncos, like, come on, get out of here with this. Like, come on, paper giants on defense. The Broncos are going to struggle for sure. I'm very confident in that. I think that Chargers are going to be really, really competitive, but not necessarily like double digit lock wins. But yeah, I just don't understand why these other teams get so much credit, and then the Raiders, like all these pundits and people are like that. Even when Brandon Marshall said that Raiders were going to be number 2 in the division, and that guy was like, I think the Las Vegas Heat is getting to you. The Raiders, like.
Yeah, it's just hating on Gruden and Carr. That's all.
Yeah, it's just fun to do, I guess, for some people because they don't actually watch the games.
Derek, do the ball away on 4th down, make fun of type shit.
I mean,
excuse my language, guys, but
winning will cure that. We gotta Raiders gotta make some people believers. But on that note, we're gonna be out of here. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. I'm BD Williams. Follow me at BD Williams 18. Marcus Johnson is my co-host. He's the offense guy at the Mark John NFL. He also has a podcast, A Little Pocket Awareness, where he talks about quarterback play. And so find that if you want to hear his thoughts on every single quarterback. We said
every single one. Yeah,
every single quarterback. Okay, Dan Marino, Bob Greasy. I'm just kidding. Probably current. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Anyways. So yeah. And if you're listening to this in the podcast format, we really appreciate you. Make sure you hit that download button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, depending on the streaming service that you use. And if you're on YouTube, I hope you appreciated these film breakdowns. Hit subscribe. Hit the post notification so you can see anytime we drop a video. Tell your friends about Tape Don't Lie. That's it, guys. We out.
Peace.